also a realtor. I have a background in IT. I have a background in IT. And when I came to this country, 2011, that is about 13 years, I decided that I'm going to pursue real estate, even though I have an IT background. And because of that, I started investing in real estate. I went for a lot of, I spent some money on trading,
I didn't,
workshop.
you said when you came to this country, that was the last thing I
Okay.
Oh, I don't. Anyone.
So when I came, one of the things I wanted to do is real estate. You know, because back home, I identify real estate as an opportunity, and that also has a template. And when you follow the template, something good is going to happen. So I decided that is what I wanted to do. And because of that, I've also read Dad Poor Dad back home.
Okay.
So, and I also do real estate back home. I used to work for MTN. That was my last place of employment.
Okay.
So when I came, I started quite early. I went for a lot of workshop and training, paid training. Then eventually I started investing. And I became a full-time landlord about 6 years ago. What I was only doing, and I'm still doing, managing my properties and the property that I hold with other people. And 3 years ago, I became...
How many properties do you have, sir?
Well, sizable numbers to retire on. Yeah. So I became a realtor 3 years ago, mainly because of people who, because I used to do things like this workshop, to people, and eventually I became a realtor, and it has been all good for the last 3 years. Today I'm going to be sharing with us the home buying process, and because we also use the word smart, I'm also going to go dive into little things. So when you want to buy a house, one thing I realized that most of we immigrants, first generation immigrants that landed in this country, or many of parts of Europe, we came to the dinner very late. For example, myself, I came when I was already 40. A lot of people came 30 something, 38, some even 50. So we were already late. And I see real estate as an opportunity to leverage so that you can also prepare something for yourself in retirement. So that is the way I see real estate. So, and of course, culturally, we love to buy home, we love to build home, we love to live in our home. We also pride in acquiring an asset. We want to train up our children in the home where we are living. So that is very good for us culturally. So, but how do we navigate through the home purchase, buying? And I want to also tell you that there's a difference between the home that you are living and the home that you want to invest in. And sometimes we can combine both of them. That is what we call house hacking. If time permits, we are going to go into that today. So, determine the budget. One of the things I like more that relates to this in the story that was shared today was the fact that chairman started from a smaller home in Weatherdom in Saudi. Then he came here to buy a bigger home. That is a preferred way. There's no crime starting buying a big home, and if you can, especially if you are able to afford it. But in the beginning, most importantly, determine what you can afford. That is not going to make you run crazy because you want to pay for mortgages. Except you are buying an investment property that is going to give you money. Then if it's not going to be giving you money, then you have to, very important, you have to determine the budget, what you can afford. I'm going to discuss all this in more detail. Get pre-approved for mortgages, search for your home, make an offer, then do an home inspection if you put that condition, closing the deal. In all these processes that you want to go through, it's very good to have a professional by your side that guides you. You know, two heads are better than one. That is what the scripture says.
Two good heads. Good one.
Yeah, two good heads. Yeah, thank you. So determine your budget, assess your financial situation. You know, husband is earning maybe 50,000, the wife is earning 30, 40. You know, it's always good to approach a mortgage person to determine how much you can afford, how much how much home you are able to purchase. I mean, sometimes if your pay is high, they can say, okay, you are able to buy a 1 million home, but do you really need a 1 million home? So assess your financial situation. Also consider the hiding cost, because the cost of purchasing a home and maintaining a home is not all about buying only, because you are going to buy and you are also going to maintain. You are going to look at the cost like property tax, maintenance, insurance, and of course utility. So those are all the costs that you have to look at. How much you are going to be spending every month to maintain the house. Understanding the affordability, you know, it's easy. We have many mortgage calculators online. You can just Google mortgage calculator. Put the amount of mortgage you want to take. For example, if you are buying a house of 500,000 and you want to put down 5%, so it means your mortgage is going to be, 5% of 500,000 is 25,000. So it means you are getting a mortgage of 475,000. Put into your mortgage calculator with the prevailing interest rate in today, maybe around 4.4, 4.2, 4.3. Put the interest rate there. That it is going to show you how much you are going to be paying on a monthly basis, especially when your amortization is 25 years. And thank God for the federal government. You can buy a new home as of today for 30 years amortization. And by December 15, anyone can buy a home. You are still going to pay, you can get 30 years amortization. So what amortization give you, the longer amortization give you, is longer term, to be able to pay, more flexibility. You can decide to pay in 15 years, in 10 years, and you can also pay in 30 years. So it gives you more flexibility and it reduces your mortgage on a monthly basis. So, very important that we should keep the future expenses in mind when we are purchasing a home. And I wouldn't advise us to overstretch ourselves. And that is very, very important, especially when you are not buying an income generating property. Yeah, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, you know. So once you have decided how much house you want to buy, how much you can afford, then find a mortgage person, a mortgage specialist, maybe through your bank or through a credit union or through any lender. You know, there's no crime when you go to 2 or 3 of them. When they assess your credit at that point, the bureau see that you are actually shopping around. It does not affect your credit negatively. So, for example, if they pull your credit twice or thrice within 3 weeks, it's assumed that you are shopping around at that time. So that is good. Now, because you also you are comparing interest rate from lender A, conditions and processing from lender A, versus B. Shop around, get the best rate, get the best condition. There's nothing crap. It's a smart way to be able to, get your mortgage. Yeah. Now, we have the mortgage option that we have, the fixed and the variable rate. You have the fixed rate is, okay, within this year that you have signed, within the term that you have signed, if you have signed for 3 years, it means your interest rate will be fixed for that 3 years. If it's variable, it can vary depending on what the Bank of Canada announces. So if the Bank of Canada says this month we are reducing or we are increasing by 0.25, When you are variable, it means your own is also going to increase or decrease by that. But when it's fixed for the duration of the term that you have signed. Mostly 5 years, it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years as well. Yeah, and of course, short term, long time, 5 years, 3 years time. Let me explain the difference between amortization and the term, because people usually get confused by that. The amortization is the entire duration of how many years you can pay your mortgage. The term is when it is renewed. For example, when you renew your mortgage, when you sign 5 years fixed, term rather, 5 years term, it means after 5 years you are able to renew, and you are able to, maybe the interest rate at that time is now 2 point something, you are able to say, okay, give me that 2 point something that is available. If you want to do that before your fixed time, the bank will charge you. They will say this is the charge that you are going to pay because you want to break what you have signed with them. So it's a smart way to be able to compare mortgage product from one lender to the other. Yeah, understanding mortgage terms, I think I've explained a bit of that. And of course, larger down payment, we also, the advantage of that is that it reduces your mortgage instead of 5%, because first-time home buyer has a leverage to pay 5% plus closing costs. Closing costs can range from 1.5 to 2%, because in the closing costs you are still going to pay land transfer tax, lawyer fee, and some other administrative fee. So if you decide to make it 20%, it means the mortgage you are going to be paying a monthly, 20% of your 500,000, for example, is about 80,000. So your mortgage is 420, and if you put 5% down, your mortgage is going to be 475,000. So it's also, if you are able to afford it, not compulsory, especially for first-time home buyer, higher down payment, make sure that your mortgages also reduces. Then searching for your ideal homes. This is the time you now need to work with your realtor. The kind of home that you want. Oh, we want 3 bedroom. Or we want 2.5 bathroom. We want the master bedroom to be en suite with closet, to be en suite with washroom. We want this, we want that. We want upgraded kitchen. We want quartz countertops. This is the time you need to itemize what you want. And of course, what you want versus what your budget can also carry. If you are buying a home that is not going to be bringing any income, I would suggest personally that make sure you are making a wide decision in what you want, because what you want versus what you need. I can want a house with 3 swimming pools at the back, a yard, a lot of lands at the back. But do I really need it? And of course, you also want to see the locations. Or I want Sage Creek, I want this, I want that. One thing that I see with immigrants, first generation immigrant, is that we want newer neighborhoods. We want, and when it comes to appreciation, newer neighborhood does not necessarily appreciate better than established neighborhoods. If you look at second and third generation of immigrants or born Canadians, most of them prefer established neighborhoods than newer neighborhoods. Have you taken notice of that? That if you look at newer neighborhoods, most people that are there are first generation immigrants. So, but it's our choice.
Why is that?
Well, it's just the way we see things. Because, okay, if people come to the newer neighborhoods with new buildings and everything looks new, they believe that is the best environment. Okay, they believe that is the best neighborhood. But if I tell you that River Heights, for example, or Tuxedo is more than 100 years, and they are the best of neighborhoods in this city, what do you say to that?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. They are established. You see houses of 100 years there.
Old and beautiful.
And beautiful because they are well maintained.
Even down Grant Avenue, downtown.
Yeah. So, and of course, when you are looking to invest, those are the places to invest your money.
Yeah.
Anyway, so searching for ID homes, of course. Okay, I think we have done this. Of course, when you have seen that home that you like, another mistake that first generation of immigrants make is to go to the builder if they want a new home. They approach the builder directly and say, "Oh, we want to buy." Nobody is protecting their interest. They don't have a realtor representing them. The realtor you meet with the builder only represent the builder. So if there's any problem in the future, who do you think that realtor is going to represent more? Builder, of course. It sells many houses for the builder. And if you're only buying one of those houses, you can be sure who is going to represent the interest more. So even if you are buying from a builder, take a trusted person, a realtor, so that when there's any issue, he's going to represent you. That is very important. Now we want to make the offer. Usually, and of course we also have to look at the condition of the market when we are making offer. If you remember the last 3 years, it was a crazy market, mainly because the interest rate was down, 1.1, 2 point something, and everybody was buying. And because of that, it was a seller's market, where on a single house, 5 offers, 10 offers, 19 offers, 20 offers on a single house. And that already is a bidding war. And when you're making an offer in such a situation, you have limited choice.
Yeah.
I advise my client, this is how much I think this house is worth. And if you are taking anything above that, I think you may be wasting money. We shouldn't buy with emotion. Yeah, we shouldn't buy a house because, we want to buy it by all means. So that is very important. So, and of course, the market dictates the demand and supply. And sometimes it could be a buyer's market where you like a property that has been on the market for 60 days. Then you have room to negotiate. But if you are buying a property that you already have 19 offers, you don't have room to negotiate in such a property. And of course, it's always good to negotiate, but the condition also warrant the negotiation. Yeah. The importance of home inspection. So, when you're buying a home, mostly we put 2 conditions. Condition of financing, because that is key. Even though you might have gotten a pre-approval from the mortgage person, that is not a final approval. So, and also condition of inspection, because you also, especially when you are buying older houses, you want to see the condition of the place. Some things can cost you a lot of money. Foundation is always very, very, very expensive here. The concrete work that is cheap back home is very, very expensive here in Canada. Very, very expensive. And you know that our foundation here mostly is concrete. So an inspector, between 400 and 500 you pay for one inspection. Let's say you subject your offer to inspection. The inspector will come on that day and look at the house, test all the mechanical, test everything, look at everything that is able to see. He's not going to open the wall. There's still some level of risk that you are carrying when you are buying a home. The inspector will not open the wall. But whatever he sees, any sign that he sees, he's able to tell you, this is what I think is happening here. So, and if it come out with some issues, you are able, it can give you some leverage to also negotiate a little bit downward. And of course, it's always good to be there when the inspector is performing his job so that you can ask questions. And good inspector will also be explaining everything as he's looking at them one by one. Then the inspection is good, or even when it's not good, you are able to say, okay, can you reduce the price for us? and everything is good. Now they agree. Now you want to close the deal. So what happened at closing? Of course, lawyer is always involved. The lawyer from the seller side, the lawyer from the buyer side, and they want to finalize the paperwork. What they usually do is to transfer the title from the seller to the new owner. Of course, you as the buyer, you are also going to be responsible for paying the closing cost, for paying the land transfer tax, and some other legal fee, and some other small fee in that. And when that is done, then you wait for the. Actually, this is done at the time of very close to the possession. Let's say the possession is on the 15th of this month. All the paperwork is done very close to the day. Now, smart home buying tips. Be patient, don't rush the process. Work with your trusted professionals, the mortgage broker, the real estate agent, lawyers. Stay within your budget. Very, very important. And of course, when you are buying a home, because you have to keep long time goal. You are not buying it to live there for 2-3 months, or even to invest there for 2-3 months. You are buying it for a long time. So when you are buying, it's always good to put that in mind. And of course, always plan for unforeseen expenses, because look at home purchase, home investment is the biggest investment that most family here will put their money on. And sometimes unplanned expenses or unplanned expenditure can come out. And you have to prepare to be able to do that. So, summary, saving for the down payment, typically between 5 to 25%, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, understanding how much we are able to afford when we are doing that, finding the right property, the location, the size and prices, and of course, closing. And when you are doing all this, undergoing all these processes, it's always good to have a trusted professionals around you to guide you. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about real estate investment, then we are going to round up. So, one big advantage for real estate investment is that you are able to create a passive income, a consistent passive income. And over the years, your property also, if you buy right, your property also appreciates. That is not to say that property appreciates in every neighborhood. So you still need some people to guide you to do that. But typically, property appreciates. And you can also leverage. You can leverage on property. For example, if you have, let's say you have 1 or 2 properties and you have sizable equity. You buy a property for $250, maybe 6-7 years ago, and today that property now worth $600 or let's say $500. You bought for $250 6 years ago and it's now worth $500. So, and you have paid $50,000 mortgage, so you're having mortgage remaining $200,000, and the house is now worth $600,000. It means you have equity up to $400,000. One of the leverage that you can do, you can leverage, pull out your equity to buy other property.
By selling it.
No.
Not even selling. You can sell it if you like.
When you say pull it out,
So
Pull it out. Okay, that is refinance. Okay. Okay. Let me explain that.
I don't be interested.
So you have 400,000 equity. Some bank can give you 80% loan to value. That is, you can get 80% of that 400,000 out. Some bank can give you 75% loan to value. It means you can get 75% of that 400,000 out. So you can decide to buy another property, you can decide to buy business. When I was starting out this, I wanted to buy a franchise of Tim Horton, but I don't like it again. So if you, those are the leverage that real estate can help you to achieve if you are planning to do a certain business in the future. And of course, real estate investment also has tax benefits. It has a lot of tax benefits. I'm not an expert in tax, but it has a lot of, if you do the right thing, someone that has a real estate and the other one that doesn't have, so someone with high income is able to use real estate to save on taxes. And it's a way to diversify your income and build long-time wealth. Real estate investment is not a get-rich quickly kind of a thing, but for long-time wealth, yes. And I quickly want to mention the types of real estate investment you can put your money on. Residential real estate, which comprises of single-family condominium townhouses. This property can be rented out for passive income, and of course sold for profit if you have. Commercial real estate as well, like office building, retail spaces, industrial properties, vacation rentals, Airbnb, Booking.com, yeah, and of course also REITs, real estate investment trust, where you buy just like you buy trust in a property that you do not own. So it is important to choose the right investment where you are going to get help, or something that you are passionate with, because you have all this that you can put your money on. Yeah, people used to ask, how do I start if I want to invest in real estate? Where do I get the money? Is it possible to buy multiple properties? Those are the questions I often get. And people ask me from time to time, how do you manage to get multiple properties? It's because I do not buy liabilities. I buy assets, because property can also become a liability to you. If you buy a property and the property is taking money out of your pocket month in, month out, that is a liability.
Come again, sir.
If you buy a property and it's taking money from your pocket every month in, month out, that is a liability. It's not an asset, because real estate can also be a liability. So, and the bank will look at it. If we are able to buy 1, 2, or 3 of those, they are not able to finance you again, because they know that it's costing you every month. But if you are buying a property that is paying for itself, even giving you cash flow, bank is able to give you more money to buy more. So that is the difference between buying an asset for real estate investment or buying a liability. So, of course, through our traditional mortgage, through private lenders, we can buy real estate. Partnership, we can co-invest together. Joint venture, and where does the money come from? All these sources. The money can come from the savings, your line of credit, your RRSP, your TSFA, to put that here.
Sorry, sir. From which one is TSFA, RRSP? These are acronyms that I don't.
So RRSP is retirement savings. When you are working in a structured place, they say, okay, to give you the option, can they be deducting certain amount of money from your pay? So they can deduct the money, and that money will go to that investment. Yeah. TSFA also fall into the same category. The advantage of TSFA is that they don't tax it. All the return is not taxed, but you are capped. but RRSP is taxed. So they will deduct from your pay and they put it aside for an investment. If you need it, you can get it back and say, I need it, I want to use it to invest. Those are the structured way that Canada system has put in place to save for retirement. If you notice what most people do in this part of the world is when they buy a property and maybe they hold it for 30 years, 25 years, and they are retiring, they downsize. They sell the property, they go to a smaller place and use the return on that, because your first home here is not, residential home is not taxed. So if you sell a property for example, 600,000, you have all the money to yourself. And you
capital gain tax.
yeah, because it's your primary residential home. But investment property is taxed.
Okay.
Yeah, but your primary residence is not taxed. So those are the system put in place to make sure that you have good retirement. So people downsize and take the gain from their home, plus whatever they have in all these.
A question, sir, in that area, if I have a residential and I sublet part of it, is it still classified as my place of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, maybe you're renting a basement.
But maybe I report the income from.
Yeah. It's good to report your income, but that is still your primary place. So far, you're living there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to add what you said, I think it depends on the proportion of the house.
That's what I know in Nigeria.
Yeah,
I
and
want
that's
to learn
here
here.
as well.
Okay.
It's a
The moment
function of
you
the proportion
occupy
of the
more
house.
than
So if you-
21 or so.
If you have like there are some duplex where you stay off somebody stays down, so you are renting out 50% of the house. In that instance,
50 or
the
21.
50% will be subjected to capital gain tax in that instance. But let's say this kind of a house now, the lands yeah, exactly, the square meter of this and this compared to the basement
Basement is small.
So in that case,
Okay.
it would be
So they use the square, mostly they use square meter for it.
Okay.
Thank you. So, yeah. Yeah, and of course, it's always good to understand the market trends. I mean, the market trends, for example, right now in the last 2 years, the interest rates have been very high. And because of that, a lot of people are not buying. A lot of people are waiting for when the interest rate is going to come down. I mean, that in itself has its own disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because the
The
market,
principal sum may even be higher.
yeah, so
Why
the,
the interest is low.
yeah, so we have seen that in every market when the interest rate is low, the prices of houses are usually high, and when the interest rate is high, the prices are controlled. I mean, the reason why the Bank of Canada has increased interest rate is to be able to control the inflation. The inflation in Canada was around 8 point something before when they started. Now it's about 2 point something, which is good.
And now where they want it.
And that is where they
Now
want
where
it.
they want it.
So now they are,
Yeah.
so now they are,
Everybody's comfortable now.
yeah. And they are announcing the decrease from time to time. Hopefully, it will go further down. So, supply and demand controls the market, and of course, also the interest rate. Economic indicator. So when you are also buying, for example, economic indicator, you look at where do I buy, for example. I mean, one good thing about this city, Winnipeg, is that, I mean, we don't have oil just like Alberta, but what we have are
You don't have what?
oil. But what we have, no single commodity controls our economy here.
Yeah.
So you are able to plan.
It's tax that is controlling the economy. It's tax. And tax and debt. That's all the finance.
Okay, but in Alberta, whatever that is happening in the oil market
Yeah.
affect them. We don't have that here in Manitoba. So, and of course, population shift local development of projects affect the property value. When you are in a neighborhood where you see new buildings springing up among the older ones, they are demolishing the older ones, they are building the newer ones. That is a good indication that it is good here to put my money here. When you are in a neighborhood that all the houses are almost dead, nothing is happening there, that is a bad sign. Yeah. And the crime rates are high.
Well,
The downtown.
And of course, real estate investment also has its own risk. The market volatility, tenants risk. You know, interestingly, when you're investing in property management is very important. It's key to the success of your investment. So that is ability to be able to manage well your tenants, because that property management can make and mar your investment. So it's what you want to pay good attention to. So these are also the risks. Like any other business, any other venture, it has its own risk. So to be able to get over this, to learn as much as possible, or have somebody to guide you, as much as possible. And of course, liquidity risk. You need money, you want to sell a house because you want to get the cash. That cash is not going to arrive on time. It's not going to be readily available. Yeah. So real estate has its own liquidity issue. And of course, our ability to be able to manage all these risks and many more will determine our success in the endeavor. Some of the strategies that I common when you are investing in real estate, buy and hold means you buying property, income generating property, and holding them for a long time. Because if you are buying in the right neighborhood, it is almost sure that your property, given the good market condition, that your property is going to appreciate. So buy and hold, and because you are also getting income from that property, you are not under any duress to be able to say, I want to sell at the point you don't need to sell. Fix and flip, which a lot of TV stations are painted as all juicy there. That is not true though. Flip also has its own challenges. That is, you buying a property that is not in good condition, you renovate it, and you sell for profit. That is another strategy. You require time, and of course, they are going to tax you just like your daily income. When you buy a property, you renovate it, and you rent it out, and you repeat. Pulling out your equity. When I started this, the first property that I ventured into, that I purchased, that is what I used mostly, because one of the advantages is that you are able to scale quickly. So you buy a property in not good condition, you renovate it, and you go to the bank and say, oh, I think my house is now worth this amount of money. So the bank will send the appraiser and say, okay, that property is worth this, and we think you can pull out this amount of money. But of course, you have to know your figures. You have to do the market comparison. One of the things that amazes me is, when I started there, I invited my wife and, come and look at this property. She could not go inside the property because it was that bad. But when we renovated, it was looking good, and we were able to refinance, pull out the entire money we used for renovation, pull out some of the down payment we have used. And even today, those properties still worth very much more. So that is the advantage of buy.
So how long did that take? So I know for you to refinance, it's going to be like, is a time, maybe it's 3 years or 5
No.
years. So is it
Those ones I did it three months.
You refinance in 3 months.
Yeah.
You enter now, you refinance in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
And the property move.
Yeah. That is what they call the forced appreciation. But you have to know your numbers. Yeah. That is forced appreciation.
So you can refinance under 3 months and you can't.
It's not about when, it's not about the time, it's about the equity. It's about the equity. It's about the value and the equity.
The bank can make money because your loan size has increased.
Yeah.
No, but won't they penalize you for coming out to refinance?
No.
No, you are not selling. You are taking out of your equity. So the property is still there.
So you can refinance at any time.
As long as you have done something like you said, first value.
Renovation was done, for example, with
I get what you're saying. Maybe you have to do after renovation, the value is
so the kitchen renovated, the bathroom renovated, painting, windows removed and replaced. So
everything has changed. So of course the value will increase immediately.
yeah. So it's a forced appreciation. You know, you wait for
You are
appreciation.
taking out the money you spend.
Yeah. So you wait for appreciation from here, and of course we're able to rent for higher money. You know, you wait for appreciation for years. But that this is forced appreciation. You wanted to say something or ask a question? Okay, sorry. So it's a forced appreciation because people used to ask me that question and say, "How long will I wait?" It depends on what you buy. You know, and at the same time, some people buy a property and they want to sell even for the same amount they bought. They are not able to sell for that because they bought high when they bought. An investor will want to buy a discounted property. Your target is to look for a discounted property.
That BRR can easily be done by a realtor. Can a layman go into
No,
that?
I wasn't a realtor. I just became a realtor 3 years ago, and I've been investing more than 10 years.
It's something you can do now. Buy.
You don't need to.
Call somebody to.
How do I understand my number?
I think it's more of the risk.
Accountant.
Yes, sir.
That area is
So
risky.
the bar strategy, it's I think a jackpot if you know your numbers, just like you said. Like it's something that you can easily scale through, as in help you scale. But in my own opinion, I think it's the most difficult in my own opinion. And I'll say why.
Okay.
Because it's an embodiment of all the other strategy in the real sense. It has elements of fix and flip.
Yeah.
Because
Actually, you are selling to yourself.
Exactly. So it has all those components in there. But if you know your numbers and you are very experienced in it, at the end of the day, you own a property without having a single dime in it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. I think one thing that I think most people do not consider is that whenever they want to do a business, they need to learn about that business. So that is the first thing. And it's good also that you have a mentor who can tell you, who can guide you, who can advise you. So, but when you want to do a business, and begin to do it, that is not good. So anything you want to do, you want to make sure that at least you understand it very well. So I think preparation will make the difference. Because the first 3 properties that I did bar, and those are the first investment that I did. It's not the only
if you own it, despite to refinance
yes.
Okay.
The only difference that I prepared myself very well, knew all the theory behind it.
And face the practical.
And face the practical. Of course, but if you are looking for a perfect condition not to make mistakes, no, that will not happen. You're still going to make mistakes. Yes.
So how did you get the tradesmen, because it's a large component of the renovation, right? How did you get an established relationship with good tradesmen? Because finding good tradesmen
So
as a good rate is crazy.
So that is one major challenge of investing in real estate here in Canada, and I guess it's all like that in all the developed nations. because trade people are kings. The plumber, the electricians, the carpenters, that often back home, take very low wages. They beg you to give them jobs, but here they are kings. So you have to understand the fact that they are kings. And so one of the mistakes that I made when I started was till today, a lot of them still have my money. Till today. Like someone, 591,000, someone was working and decided he's not going to continue. He decided to change all the contract. We signed a contract, the scope of the contract is there. And he decided, no, it's not going to follow, that I should be paying him daily. And I started, and for the next 3 days, I see what he was doing. And I said, no, I'm not going to continue. So are you going to have problem with trade people? Yes. Are you going to be able to discover some good ones among them later? Yes. Yeah. So trade people, but go with what people recommend for you. Because if they have used them in time past, you can still manage them. But that is not to say that there is going to be 100% okay. No. Tradesmen are tradesmen. They have more jobs that they can cope with. They will do your job 1 hour, they go to another one. So, one of the guys that is still helping me today, he did carpentry in one of these colleges one year, and his first tax return was more than 150,000 income. Yeah, he was asked to pay about 6,000 back. How many professors is any that? Carpenter. So that it is what the system. It is what it is.
Yeah, the king there.
Yeah. The challenge that they have, a lot of them doesn't know how to manage.
Please, do you have experience in buying property from the city? You're going to get a very low price.
Yeah.
The condition will probably still be good. When city sees a property because someone did not pay property standard. So getting property from the city municipalities,
it's more or less bidding. It's safe. You have to close. You have to close the envelope. I've not been able to win any.
And you get it at a very ridiculous price.
Yeah, I've not been able to win any. Okay. Because what they do is that you close your envelope, you submit.
Discussing that with someone.
Yeah. So you close the envelope, you submit the amount. I've tried a couple of times. I've not been able to win any because it's easier.
You pull it out at a very small price.
It's cheaper, but they can sell it to anyone they decide, and the committee decide who is buying this. So it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. Yeah, home ownership versus real estate investment. Home ownership provides stability, build equity, and offers tax. I say here home ownership, your home that you are living, not investing. Then the real estate investment, long time you are building wealth. Although has some risk too, but both are good. Yeah. Question and answer. We have even started a question and answer.
Somebody asked a question, yeah. Is it better to buy residential property first or investment property first?
Actually, you can do both. That is what they call house hacking, where you live in. If you buy a duplex, for example, you live in one unit and rent the other unit. It's a smart way of investing. So that is one way to start. And it all depends about what you want, but you can do both together.
So when you mentioned the title, since it's the bank that is giving you the loans, are they going to be on the title too?
Something like that.
So you are part owner.
So they are part owner.
Yeah.
Are they not supposed to bear some of the cost apart from them giving
No.
No.
People like property tax.
You take loan from me, secure my loan with the title.
Property is correct.
It's your own, but just secure it. That I'm the first beneficiary.
But sir, I want to ask, in case maybe I decide to sell the house, and of course the bank knows that maybe they borrow me 400,000, then the house now worth 800,000. Since you said they are part of the, contractual agreement, the gain, am I supposed to share with the bank or
It's your gain.
You have paid
So
interest.
one big advantage of real estate investment is that, okay, you buy a property of 500,000 and you only use 80,000 to invest, but your business is actually worth 500,000 because the bank gives you money, and when the appreciation comes, it comes on that 500, not on your 80,000.
Yes.
A typical good neighborhood in Winnipeg appreciates between 4 to 5% every year. So you get that appreciation 5-6 years, and over 500,000, not over your 80,000. That is one big advantage of real estate investment versus stock. Your stock, the 80,000 that you used to invest is what is going to increase in value over time. But with real estate, you are able to borrow more money, and
gains is actually
over that 500,000.
not the 80,000.
I was just going to contribute to what you said. So there's an arrangement, I can't remember the name of the scheme or the program precisely, where the government can give you some of your down payment. So let's say you want to buy a house of 500,000, and I'll just be throwing out numbers now, and the down payment required, let's say 5% of it is 20,000, and you have 10,000. The government can give you 10,000 to make up the 20%.
So,
but in that case, they are owning part of the.
They stopped that program about 2-3 months ago.
They didn't do it at all.
They did it.
They announced it.
They did it. Some I have few clients that took advantage of it.
So both of you will own it. You share the money with government.
Okay,
Exactly.
So when I
People do not like it.
I share with government.
Government will take part of it.
But they will not share part of the cost.
So the reason why it's not popular is the fact that when the house appreciates in the future, the government holds the same percentage that you own.
So, but they didn't partake in the.
Well, that is one of the reasons it's not popular.
So what about the maintenance,
I think
the
that's
tax,
why
the insurance
That is your.
does not
That,
make
that are
sense.
doing every year?
yeah. So they just want to encourage homeownership. That is why they introduced that. Now they stop it. So what they are doing, what they have done.
They just invested in my business. That's it.
Yes.
And they didn't share any risk.
So now they are giving 30 years amortization. So that
The money they gave you, the money they gave you,
But at the end of the day, the value cannot go down. The value cannot go down. You still have
but let me tell you a smart way. So for such people that did that, I tell them, okay, in 1-2 years, if you are able to return government money, return it. By that time, your house has not really appreciated very much.
You just pay them the 10,000.
You pay them. They will come and appraise it. They will come and appraise your house. So maybe that the house of 400,000 has now become 420. They will appraise you. So you give them the equivalent. You share the 50-50. I mean, yeah, but you buy them out. Yeah, it's not popular, so that was why they stopped it.
Yeah, because no one wants to share.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? It's still better to be able to buy a house than not buying a house.
If somebody wants to work with you in getting home ownership, can you also advise in the area of good neighborhood?
Yes, of course. That is my job.
Okay.
It's a function of what the percentage that 10,000.
Let me put it in my pocket first.
Yeah, it's good they stop it.
Wherever.
No, I mean, okay.
Investment.
I know him.
For investment.
And I'm going to get our contact. Okay, sir.
No, based on your experience, you talk about the fees rate and variable. Understand? Based on your experience, Because I know that
That is fees of
the exchange rate, the rate will be fluctuating based on the Bank of Canada and everything.
Okay.
Which one is more preferable? Is it the fees or the variable?
Well, I mean, it all depends your situation and what you can able to accommodate in your finances. Fix, a lot of people prefer fix because it doesn't raise their high blood pressure.
It's none.
That is why a lot of people prefer fix.
Yes.
And so let's say, okay, but what I advise people is that, for example, now that the interest rate is coming down, I advise, okay, get fixed 2-3 years.
Okay.
Because from the look of things,
Those are going to change
yeah,
next year.
but when you say 1 year for the bank, they say, okay, 6 point something. so they will not, the interest rate will not be high. So, but if you are able to get something, relatively lower, 2-3 years, then you know that when the interest rate now comes down, you are able to
Negotiate again.
renew your mortgage based on the lower interest rate. But that is not even a guarantee, though. But I mean, because let's if you remember very well, when the interest rate was coming down, 1 point something, Bank of Canada said, "Oh, we are not going to raise interest rate. That is going to be like that." So then suddenly they begin to increase. Even they could not, the performance of the lower interest rate, they could not really control it. Everything went crazy. Vegetable oil of $19 suddenly become $40. Houses of 200,000, people were justly around it for 300. There were 19 people want to buy. So everything just, and they came to go, we have to control this, and they start to increase the interest rate. So it's all about risk. But what I've seen so far is that people are able to cope if they have fixed. If they say, okay, this is my budget, I know this is what I'm going to be paying.
Yes, I may want to ask a stupid question. So,
Your question is stupid, though.
So there's a different rate for mortgage interest and a different rate for normal. You want to collect normal loan from bank.
Yeah, the bank tend to do that.
Commercial.
Yeah, even though their commercial rates are higher, though, but loan
Okay, for example, if I want to take a loan to buy a car, it's different from the rate from if I want to buy a house.
that one seems to be higher than mortgage.
Yes, there's more controllable. It's more controlled by the government.
Another thing I also need to say is for it's good to buy a new car, but when you are pursuing real estate, you want to buy property for yourself or you want to invest, you have to be courteous of buying new car on loan.
You have to be careful, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that will affect your mortgage, how much you are going to qualify for. I mean, for example, if let's say you are paying, I have a client that is paying about $750 on monthly basis for car. And he is qualified to pay mortgage of about $2,000 minus $750 now. So the highest mortgage is able to pay is $1,250. But if he has bought a used car for $5,000 or $10,000 or something lower, maybe he's just paying $200 every month for the car, that could have been better. So if you are pursuing property purchase, please don't forget.
So how do someone start small? No, how does someone start? Consider, okay, maybe your capital that you have or the money you have is you don't have a very big money. So
if you have a home and you have equity, start from there.
No, what if you don't have a home and you don't have equity?
Start to save.
Save your taxes.
Do you have any?
The tax refund is a big amount.
Because I've watched your video and
That's so fun.
Every
it looks
year,
like
January to
you
April.
have more.
February to April, you get tax
Based
refund.
on what I was able to
So
gather,
don't count it as very
you
important.
If you have free funds.
Yeah, because yes, that's true. Because that is how I started.
So I was going to ask. I was going to ask. Do you have any portfolio arrangement? Do you have any scheme? Do you have any
Like joint venture.
kind of?
Yeah. So
people can see you off camera.
Yeah, but yes. But I encourage people, even people that we did joint venture together, I encourage them to start something later when they've acquired small experience.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did a video. I encourage every family here to have minimum of 4 houses.
For all houses.
The first generation.
Yeah. This is because that would be cool for your retirement. That would be cool for your retirement. If you are able to hold those between 5 to 10 years, that would be cool for your retirement. So have we ever considered? How many of us here have ever considered what our pay is going to be in retirement? Please go and do that. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked that. Go work in it. Go work in it.
It's always in your pension statement. If you retire at this social age, this is how much you are entitled to. In 5 years, time, this is how much you are entitled to. It's always put it there.
What should not bank on retirement?
Okay.
I think okay. There's one part of the slide that I saw that has to do with you don't own the property, but indirectly you pull from
REITs.
yes. So
Yeah, that is just like buying stock.
okay, because
That one good too.
Well, I don't do it.
okay,
I do not.
okay, you don't do it.
Yeah.
So do you have any special registration you have to do, or you have any special accreditation you have to
No.
before you start this?
No. For family and friends, no.
So you can do you have to do it under any legal name or structured?
Well, you can start with your name. Then later you can graduate to register a company. Because even if you start, you register a company, you will still have to guarantee your name. Guaranteed, like, yeah. So whichever you decide to do is okay.
So do you have a mentorship arrangement to?
Yeah, I
people are through that?
I have quite sizable number of people.
Okay, friendly arrangement.
Yeah, I'm going to take our contact so that whenever I send out information,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
we are going to be getting it.
So
You
can
have a
you,
WhatsApp group?
Sorry, please.
Not yet. Maybe I will create that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it better.
Yes, sir.
I came across some filings, some period like that, and you have people on some specifically is underused housing tax return, and
I didn't get that.
is underused housing tax return. I think it
Okay.
will affect so many of us.
what's the name of that?
You don't understand.
It's houses that
They have
are
credits.
Bigger than the family.
Okay.
if you are not a permanent resident or you are not a Canadian citizen, you just buy property and nobody is living there.
Okay.
So you are subjected to tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some instances, especially the Indians and the Chinese, you see so many of them own
BC.
properties together, like they can be like 10.
Yes.
Some do 10%, 16%, and when they are doing the individual filings, because they still file it under their individual names, because
Yeah,
we call them tenants in common. We call them tenants in common.
You're an accountant.
I'm not an accountant. But the question I want to ask is how do they
Structure that.
get to buy that? How do they structure that?
It's simple. It's
We
simple.
can be
Let's go
like,
together
like
and
trustees. I don't know.
Yeah,
whether
that is
that's-
it's one of the things I help people to do. So if let's say 3-4 people want to buy a property, so you look for people who are going to be able to be good for mortgage, maybe 2 out of the 4. And we also have a signed agreement, joint venture, memorandum of understanding. Okay, even though these 2 names on the title of the property are mortgage, but these are the 4 people that own the house. That is also going to be registered on the title of the property. So the 2 that are holding, they are just there's a legal term for that. Something like holding via trust.
Yeah.
Trust, yeah.
Via trust, and every one of the 4 people signed the MOU, and it's registered on the title of the property. that is done. I can do that for you.
Someone has invited me to join. It's even from another person.
10 of them should be on this video.
They come together, they will buy the property.
And those community that you mentioned, you know, they have their community sense is very high. That is what black
They
people.
are not Nigerians, they are another
And you know,
Africans.
because
Just people
they
in
have
that
that
American
trust,
don't
they are
have that.
exempted from that taxes, even if they are not permanent residents.
I think looking at the Nigerian setting, Hausas may do that easily than people of other tribes.
Yes.
Yoruba have it.
We have funny set of people.
And you know what? That is drawing us back in a country like this.
Terribly back.
Yes.
Just some few blocks away from here, there's a building, once you go this junction, about 3-4 houses. Indians, if you are going now, just check. Their driveway is about 6 cars.
Yes.
The
Okay,
opposite is
Do I
about
ask
3-4
you have
cars.
people? I mean,
They are like,
No next question.
okay, so maybe we can stop.
In lieu of
Thank you very much,
in
everyone.
stay together, Indians and the Chinese.